Well, Jess, we're back for another episode of Serial Streamers. And this one's going to be really fun because it's not like super dark in nature. I mean, there are some like dark aspects, but we're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders. And
the DCC.
DCC, girl. And as you know, there was one documentary on Netflix that came out in 2024 last year. Then they just came out with part 2, 2025. And so it's again going viral. The first time around, I would say, I mean, you saw people doing TikToks, like doing the DCC dance.
Like it reinvigorated like anybody's interest in, the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders or gave them a new spotlight.
It did.
Yeah.
It really did. So now the second time around, and to be honest with you, I had actually no intentions. I got really into the first documentary. As you know, I did a couple TikToks. Both of them went viral. One of them went like mega viral.
Like over 1.3 million views.
And it just the engagement on it was insane. And it's because I was giving hot takes, but I was also talking about something that was just really hot. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, it's beside the point that they say they want to be there, that they're happy to be there, that they would do it, for this little money because they're just so privileged to wear that goddamn uniform. That's beside the point. Big Jerry Jones, Rich Daddy Jones, is freaking a multi-billionaire himself. So how much do you think this organization as a whole is worth? Miss Charlotte Nepo Baby Mean Girl Jones, she's worth an estimated 100 million. So they absolutely have the ability. Bitch, that thing that they're a part of that's bigger than themselves is basically just lining your pockets. That's what they are doing. They are lining your pockets and your daddy's pockets. And it's disgusting. Hey, these women, I think it's bullshit. So now for part 2, I felt like I've already seen it. It's going to be the same thing over again. It's just going to be these cheerleaders trying out for this organization that's going to, in my opinion, exploit them and not pay them. And some people are going to make it, some people won't. But then I was like, one night I just needed something to watch. So I watched it and I actually was pleasantly surprised by. I was entertained all over again. I was pissed off all over again. And there were some things that came out that I did not expect, which you and I will get into. So you're the one who suggested that we cover it for Serial Streamers. And I was like, oh, well, I just watched the doc. So let's do it. So your homework was you went and watched part 2. Have you watched both documentaries?
Yes, I watched the first season of it. I never watched the making of the team. That's one thing. Because there was almost like a Dance Moms series of making the team where they would show it. Yeah, back in the day. So I didn't watch those.
I watched some of that.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I've only seen clips of it, but I did watch last year. And then, yes, I just literally finished it last night.
Okay, good. So it's fresh on your brain. I watched it like a couple weeks ago. And as you know, I'm in full perimenopause and that's my excuse. I don't remember shit. So I watched it 2 weeks ago. You might have to remind me of some names, but for the most part, I know, obviously what happened. And I cannot wait to talk about it with you because you and I've always, we've been best friends for over 30 years. We are very aligned when it comes to core values,
like our
politics,
compass,
morals, ethics. Our sense of humor is basically the same. Our mothering, parenting is pretty, similar. But we are actually two different people.
Yes.
We are very different in quite a few ways, like personality, just the way we view things, our professions, so the way we were raised is a bit different. So I know how I feel about this whole situation.
I know, and I know how you feel.
I know you do.
But I also, when I was thinking about how I feel, and then also who you are as a person and who I am and how we are friends, I think it works this way. But you're more of a tough cookie.
Yeah.
You will be loud and strong in your convictions of what you believe. I always try to see the other person's side, and then I start thinking about things, and then sometimes I can be on the fence about some, but that's where you were so beneficial to me growing up and as we were developing is that you were always the strong person I wanted to be or who I was in my head.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like this comes out I see where you're coming from, but hopefully you can see where I'm coming from.
I will
too.
absolutely, Jessi. And this is the thing, just because some people mistake if I'm like a dog with a bone. Once I've dug into something and I've critically thought about it and I come to a conclusion, it's not just because that's just, I'm just going to take this stance. It's because I've educated myself on the topic. I cannot know everything there is to know about certain topics. But once I know enough, I have never been a person who's had any problem saying, here's how I feel. It may be opposite to the way most people feel. It may be the same as most people feel or somewhere in between. But here's how I feel and here's why. I will always tell you why. And a lot of people mistake like my conviction, and I get really, you know, worked up about certain things that I'm very passionate about. They mistake it for me trying to bully you into believing what I believe. That is not at all how I feel. It's just, this is who I am to my DNA. I'm like a dog with a bone. And there is something about, and I look back on my childhood and it actually makes a lot of sense. All the way from my like childhood, teenage years, all the way up to now, there's been something about me where I get, I hate to use the word triggered, it's overused, but I get all the way activated when there is a big guy bullying a little guy. No,
it's like the underdog.
Underdog, the little, and I literally, when I watch it on TV, it's like that with Housewives.
Yes.
That is why I cannot stand Erica Jane. Like people don't understand why my hatred of Erica Jane runs so deep. It's because of many things that we could get into on an episode of Say Yes to the Mess when we talk about reality TV. She bullies the little guy. She bullies people she knows aren't going to stand up to her, aren't going to say a peep. And I think that's fucking bullshit. And I want to jump through the screen. Like for Teddy Mellencamp, lover, hater, somewhere in the middle. She is not somebody who would ever go against Erica Jane. Even if Teddy's right on a certain issue, she will cower down and bow down. And Erica Jane knows that. And I don't like it. And it makes me want to jump through the screen and fight Teddy's fight for her. And it's not that I think I'm tough or anything. It's just, I'm like, no,
you've
I have the words.
It. And
I got the words for you, Erica Jane. I ain't scared of you, girl. Let me tear you up and down like you tear these ladies up and down. Let me give you a taste of your own medicine. I've always been that way. So that's like when it comes to like true crime cases too, I critically think about it. And I got the Karen Reed case. That's why I get so activated, because the system is against her and they have more power than she does. And she's been, you know what I mean? She was back up against the wall. Luckily, she was victorious. And that's a whole thing. And that got me activated. So when I talk about Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders, you know, which we're going to get into, you've got this big conglomerate. You've got the organization, multi-billion-dollar organization. And then you've got these dancers, these cheerleaders. And who has the power? And it just, so we're going to get into that, but that's why I'm not faking it when I'm not like rage baiting people.
No, I know.
I'm literally fired.
Yeah, there's things that you're like, most things, like if you do take a stance, you're not wishy-washy about it because of like you said, like the background information that you've gathered. It's like all these things kind of equal your, you know, opinion on something and you stand strong in that. And that's something to be, it's admirable, to be honest.
Thank you.
It's great.
It can be agitating to some, like some people don't want a woman to be too outspoken or to be too, but it truly is coming from a place of, I want to stand up for the little guy. So I see some of these cheerleaders and they're a bit meager and they're soft spoken and they're afraid to rock the boat. And all those things are okay. I'm not knocking them for that. I just wish I could go and have it. We're with Charlotte Nepo Baby Jones. Like, let me at her. Let me at Kelly and Judy. You know what I mean? So
that's why you were such a benefit to have as a friend. Cause I'm like, yeah, what she said, you know, like what you would stick up for me.
Always.
Like, yeah. So I loved it, you know, and I just would like everything I would, like I said, I'd want to say in my head, or I would say like, you know, I'd think the next day my comeback, which is not helpful at all. You say it in the moment and it's very helpful.
Okay. Well, and listen, and I truly just wanted to explain, like I literally, when I get fired up, it's not because I'm trying to bully anybody or think that your opinion's not valid.
That's right.
It is. It's just certain things get me activated because it's like, I look at it, you know, it's like bullying and the big man guy against the little guy. So let's get into the DCC cheerleaders. All right. So I want to open it up with, you know, last year when the first documentary came out, it went all the way viral. And I think that the reason at least what I was seeing in my algorithm and the videos that I did, that I put out there, was basically everybody, you know, collectively was outraged on behalf of the DCC cheerleaders, because we all would find out they're breaking their bodies. They're working so many hours, multiple jobs, giving up their lives, taking so much risk. One girl having hip surgery at like the tender age of 30 or 29, something like that. Unrealistic beauty standards, have to fit in these low cut shorts, not an ounce of fat can be jiggling, like all the things. And we find out that they're really not even, they're being paid peanuts and compared to what they bring to the table for that organization, the risk that they have to take. And so I think that that's the reason it went viral, is everybody was like, oh no, So like I call us the internet, like the internet spoke and we were loud and clear. And I say we because I was part of that as well, of like, fuck this shit. They're being exploited. They're not being paid well. They're having to take all this risk. And this is a multi-billion-dollar organization, the Dallas Cowboys, multi-billion.
Right.
And it's not a question of have the money. They got the money. They got the money. But what I was seeing was that the DCC organization as a whole, has been selling this narrative for decades now, that it is a privilege to dance and cheer for them. It is something that is bigger than these cheerleaders. It is, you should just be happy to be here because we're America's football team. So that's what I hear over and over and over again. And here's where I stand. When the fuck have you won a championship in the last 20-something years? You have not. You are a losing team. You cannot get your shit together to win a freaking championship to save your lives. I understand back in the day, they probably did. I don't know their history. I'm not a football fan. But it's like, how long are you going to push this lie? It's a lie. You're saying that this organization is bigger than you hear it over and over. You're a part of something that's bigger than you. No, ma'am. These cheerleaders are bigger than you at this point, because these are elite dancers and cheerleaders and athletes. And what they bring to the table at this point, and the value that they raise for the DCC brand, and they do, make no mistake, they fill those seats. Some people do come to these games.
Just to see them.
Just to see the cheerleaders. So I think it's a lie that they've been pushing for decades. Like it, and many women have bought into it. And that's, to me, where the problem lies, is like
they're lucky to have the opportunity just to be a part of the organization, regardless of compensation.
That's it. So that's kind of why I think it went viral. And that's kind of like how I feel about that. Gives you a very good idea of how I feel about this organization and how they treat these cheerleaders. Then we have part 2 of the documentary that just came out in 2025. And I was surprised to see that they heard the internet. Everybody heard the internet. Kelly, Judy, Charlotte Nepo Baby Jones, the cheerleaders themselves. They heard the internet. And then now you have this group of, let's say, 4 or 5 Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, which you and I are going to talk about, got together and they heard the internet. And I think that empowered them.
Yes.
It much like, and this is very dark, but much like sexual abuse victims, oftentimes, as we know, statistically speaking, will not ever come out about what happened to them. Or if they do, they wait many, many, many years. And that is very typical. And there are many reasons for that. But I think part of what helps them come out and tell their story is when others tell their story, or maybe they have the same perpetrator
them, kind of.
Yes. And the narrative shifts. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm not alone in this. Now I suddenly feel brave enough to speak about it. I think that's what happened.
Yes.
With these Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders standing up. They're like, wait a minute, the internet has our back. Let's talk about money again. Right. So when I spoke about it, I did 2 TikToks right after I watched the first documentary, the Dallas Cowboys, and I was so fired up. I was like, I could not press record fast enough on that phone. Like, let me get these thoughts out. And my overarching thoughts are that it's kind of like a cult. Like a cult, a lot of people would argue, oh, but these women show up and they're happy to be there. And many of them admit that, well, it's a privilege to be here and I just am fulfilling my dream and I'm just happy to be here. But does that then make it still okay that a multi-billion-dollar organization takes advantage of that and says, cool, we'll pay you peanuts because we've been, telling you for years, all this propaganda that we're America's team and it's a privilege to be here and you're a part of something bigger than yourselves. They've heard it so many times, kind of like cult members are manipulated, they're gaslit, they are exploited, they are psychologically abused.
And they're made to feel like almost lucky to be in the situation that they're in, that they've been accepted into this group.
Yes. And it's like, so then should we blame the cult members? Well, you willingly went into that cult. It's like, but there are many reasons why they went into that cult. It's not, and so let's talk about that. And there are many reasons why these Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders have been conditioned to literally think that it is a privilege to work for peanuts and break your body. And by the way, when your body's broken, the DCC is not going to pay for it. Like all these things that it's like okay to be exploited in that way. And it's because they've been conditioned. That's the narrative. That's the propaganda that's been coming out for all these years. And I'm not saying that there's no onus on these cheerleaders. They are women, or they are adults. They are making a decision, free will. But I'm saying that still doesn't make it okay for the DCC to be an asshole and take advantage of that. And the last thing I will say is that my husband and I own and operate a business together. And if I had an employee who stayed late 2 hours almost every day, overtime, and I was like, okay, yeah, you know, put that on your time card or whatever. And she's like, no, I'm so happy to be here. Like, I don't want to burden you guys with the overtime. Don't pay me for the overtime. I'm just so happy to be here. You guys are such nice bosses. I would be an asshole if I was like, okay, well, if you don't want it, I won't do it. No, I have to pay you that overtime, and I should.
Right.
First of all, by law, I have to pay you that overtime. That's illegal for me not to. If you worked those 2 overtime hours, but also if you were to look at me and say, but I just love working here. You don't need to pay me. Wouldn't I be an asshole if I was like, okay, then I won't?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to pay you because ethically that's the right thing to do.
That's
so
right.
that's my argument about why the DCC, they have the money. It's not like, it would be nothing for them to take $6 million out of their budget and put it toward the cheerleaders.
Oh, yeah. And it feels like an antiquated, you know, kind of like I can see like maybe in the 70s or even before, you know, just that idea of like, you know, when they were all doing their own hair but it seems to have carried on to current times when things have changed and times have changed, but they were still getting away with it.
They're still pushing that sisterhood. Look at all of us. We're laughing and giggling.
Until last year, the documentary came out, that's when it really was like, everybody's like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Because it is fascinating what they do. They are incredibly accomplished individuals. That part I really identify with. I love that aspect of it. And I love that aspect of the documentary, but it was so good of like the quote unquote internet to see like, wow, you were worth so much more because of that, you know? So that was like, and it reminded me a little bit of like, not to draw like a complete parallel or comparison, but like, you know, like with the Playboy Playmates, you remember like how they had to like, it was in such a man's kind of world to like, you have to serve the drink like this.
Yeah, break your back.
You've got to suck it into this. And you're so lucky to be a part of this organization because of the possible opportunity that it's going to offer you from getting exposure through this, you know, company.
That is a really good point that you make. And I think that much like, you know, like the Girls Next Door show, we know now they've all spoken out, but like essentially they were being taken advantage of. They were like being held, like you need to be back by 9 o'clock and no, you're not going to get paid for the show.
You're overweight
it's just,
now.
You're not going to get paid for this super successful reality show because it's just a privilege for you to be here. Oh, and if you're not here, there's 4 more girls lined up.
That's exactly it. Yes.
And it's just bullshit. It's like if they're putting in the work and they're bringing value, those Girls Next Door were that show. Yeah. Like those, you know, Holly
and it brought a whole new light to
Bridget. They
were
that show. But yet you're going to say, nah, it's just a privilege for you. There's 4 more girls lined up, so then we're not going to pay you.
Right.
It's not a good enough excuse for you to be an asshole and not pay them, that it's some sort of privilege. And after I watched the first documentary, you know, I, like so many other people, spoke out on my social media platform, and I didn't expect it, but both videos I did went viral. And I was talking about something really hot at the time, but I was giving my opinions and likening the DCC sort of like to a cult, or sort of like to a woman who finds herself in an abusive relationship. And people tend to blame, a lot of people, you know, do that whole victim blame thing, which is a very old, outdated, you know, argument to say, well, these women are adults. They choose to be with that man who does those things to her every day. Well, then that's her choice. Okay, I understand what you're saying, but we have to understand that there is coercive control of the man, and there's fear that he instills in her that she can't leave or he will do something even worse to her. There's manipulation, there's mind control, there's brainwashing, there's women who are young and particularly vulnerable and we have to understand the reasons why the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, they are very young women and for the most part, very inexperienced in life in general. And they have been hearing this narrative of it's something bigger than you. It's a privilege just to be here. We're America's football team. It's the sisterhood. So I think that we need to take into account that these women have somewhat been, I don't want to call it brainwashed, but like it's the propaganda of it all that like, see, you hear it enough times where that, and then you've got the women even saying it themselves. Oh, it's just a privilege for me to be here. That doesn't mean that it's okay for a big organization that's worth multi-billions to not pay them just because they've been successful in propagandizing these women, which I know isn't a word, but it's like, you still need to pay them what they're worth. And
That's
for
right.
what they
and
bring.
as times change and things change, and that's like in the documentary, I thought it, like as the episodes went on, I did appreciate, and I feel like it was, Kelly and
Judy, the choreographer.
Yeah, I can see like in this season or versus last time, they there's more talk about what they've done versus when they were actually a DCC cheerleader, where they have the people who come, like, who would do like the spray tan. Brand deals, yeah.
Not brand deals, but like they're getting freebies from brands.
They called it something like exactly. That they
perks,
they can
perks.
get like Botox and filler, and so they're not having to pay for it. They get their that Tangerine Hair Salon does their hair, and so that is something that they're saying compared to like when they were cheerleaders, they have kind of brought this on. So there's some kind of like saving of cost for them. So there's like a little layer of that, and then we see how the cost gets changes later, and they actually are able to get a pay raise, which is an incredible thing. And so that part, like that was like an interesting aspect to it. Yeah. But the other thing is when you see the rookies come in to it their first year, they really do. It is their dream. And this is where I feel like I can identify with the rookie who you want something so bad and you work so hard for something. I admired that. I loved these girls. I appreciated like the drive to do it and the willingness to kind of put everything towards it. That's everything. Moving location, everything, breaking their bodies, working multiple jobs, having, there's that 18-year-old who is also in college. Like there's a lot that they have going on. But then you could see the difference between the rookie and the veteran.
Yes.
Now they've gone through a whole season or multiple seasons, and they see like there's so much more than just staying late and doing the rehearsals. There's so much more than, they're getting like, they have to go do other things than just cheer at a game. And you can see where they're more seasoned and not like the salty cheerleader, but they're more experienced, and they now see like, gosh,
wait a second.
We are doing so much more. And so having these like brand deals or, it's that no longer seems as alluring as it might to a rookie in the beginning.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it is still like, you could see like the stars in the rookie's eyes when they get the spot, so.
And I get that. And going back to these brands, these beauty brands, spray tan companies, hair extension companies, eyelashes, makeup, all this stuff coming in and offering items for free. Of course, that's an improvement from what these women got before, which they didn't get that. But here's what I'm going to say. Number one, eyelashes, free tans and free extensions don't pay the bills. Pay these women actual dollars.
Right.
And number two, what I would argue is that the stuff that they're getting for free is because these brands are coming in and offering stuff for free, not because the Dallas Cowboys organization. They're doing it because they see the value in these women.
Yes.
If I owned a spray tan mousse, company, I would absolutely want these cheerleaders
to
with fun personalities. They're really smart. They're really unique. They're really talented. They're very beautiful. They're all the things, but it's all about them. It's not because I want my spray tan mousse to be worn associated with the DCC organization. I want it to be associated with the women, the cheerleaders. So the cheerleaders are the reason that these brands are coming in and giving stuff to them for free. Right. So it's like, I don't think it's right for Kelly and Judy and whoever, Charlotte, Nepo Baby Jones, to take credit for, we have been able to secure this. Because I think that's kind of how they spun it. At least that was my take.
No, that's exactly how
and I was not fucking with that.
Yeah, I know.
Because in my opinion, no. These cheerleaders are the reason that you're able to hand a goodie bag back to the cheerleader.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I know. That's why I was saying I think it's like midway through the season of the docuseries. They kind of put that out there, and it's like so look what we've done. This. Yeah. But then you see at the end, like how emotional everybody is that they actually did have a life-changing pay raise, basically, which is like such an incredible feat through all of this. And
it's a huge win. It's so interesting because I thought about all these things, all these random thoughts came up as I'm watching it. And I'm thinking Kanye West, he's a shit person. Okay. We all know that. but I'm not talking about that. I'm saying Kanye West for many years now has called himself a genius.
Mm-hmm.
Then I start hearing all these other people call him a genius. So is Kanye West actually a genius? Has he ever been tested? Or are we all just calling him a genius because the narrative has been pushed down our throats for so long, not only by Kanye, but now he's got other people saying he's a genius. Is he really a genius?
No,
or is he just a very
really good album? A couple,
is he just a really talented producer and rapper?
Right.
I would argue he is.
Right.
He is those things. He's a shit person. Morally, ethically, I will stand 10 toes down on that. Is he a genius? I don't know. But I'm not just going to take because he calls himself a genius and that other people kind of have picked up on it. And, so now he's just a genius. That is what I like in this narrative of this is America's football. Literally, why are the Dallas Cowboys America's chosen football team? Again, you're a losing team. You haven't been able to get your shit together and win a championship for damn near 30 years. And I'm only saying that because how long do you get to say that you're America's team, that you're
so
part of something
to be a part
bigger than yourself? We can't win a fucking championship in 30 years. What are you doing? What are you bringing to the table at this point?
Right.
And I also had a random thought of it's like an old Hollywood burnout, let's say. Let's say it's like a 55-year-old man who was real big in Hollywood back in the day. His star faded significantly. Now he drives a hoopty and he's got halitosis. However, there's a vulnerable girl from Kansas, 20 years old, packs her bags up. She's got stars in her eyes, wants to make it in Hollywood. That story is a real, you know, and she's kind of vulnerable. She doesn't have a lot of life experience. She meets this guy, okay? And she's enamored by him because he's telling her how big he is. He's like, look at me in this movie, look at this, this, and this. And I could see a scenario where those two get into a relationship. She's got stars in her eyes. He's kind of looking at her as arm candy, and he can kind of manipulate her and have her go out because she's super talented and she can model. He's going to take all her money, but not really tell her. And she's going to fall for it because she's got stars in her eyes. He's older. He used to be big in Hollywood. He's got connections. He's going to help her, build a career. And it's no, babe, you're the star in that relationship. He's going to have you believing that he's the star and that you're just this little, he's got all the power. No, baby, you are the star. You're the shining light, not him, but she doesn't see it. No. And she's the one who brings all the talent and beauty, and kindness, to the table. He's bringing nothing to the table, but he's convinced her that he is. That's how I see DCC.
I know. And then, but just for that, let's go with that story.
Sure.
It's a learning. She needs to learn. She needs to grow. She needs to develop her, her frontal lobe a little bit more. And they're usually young and vulnerable when they're doing that. So they are going to fall for something that's like a cautionary tale,
Yes.
And so that's what I don't know. It's not I have a different, when I watch this, I really focused on, and I just love these girls so much because there's something in even though they might be working harder, not smarter, which is unfortunately how I operate a lot. Because I can get so passionate about something. I'm not always thinking about what about my compensation and what do I deserve, which is it's something that I have to learn, my own worth and something that I'm doing and advocate for that. And as you get older, your voice gets stronger and louder and you're more able confident. To do that. Yes. And I don't think that anybody's blaming these girls, or hopefully they're not, but they, that's what I was saying. You can see the difference between the rookie and the veteran. You can see that learning arc that they kind of go through when they start to see the, Oz behind the curtains.
Yes.
They start to see oh, it's not as, sparkly as I thought, or I'm not as happy just to be given this opportunity regardless of what I'm not getting out of it.
Right.
They start to see that and they grow more as the years go on, which is so great about, this season of it where these veterans really, took a stand, and that was a risk that they were taking in doing that. Because who knows how the Dallas Cowboys franchise was going to, take that, or were they just going to fire them, or, because there's a million other girls ready for those spots, whatever. It was a risk that they took, but it paid off. The thing is I cried when I watched this. I got emotional. I love the idea of somebody putting their whole heart into something, and they do want it so bad, but then also they win by getting a spot. They also win again by, making changes in this organization And thank God for the internet and everybody who spoke up, and like something like your TikTok that came up, that people really, called them out and were their, what do you call it? Like there was like their bodyguard or their person that advocated for them, like spoke for them when they didn't even know what to speak for.
Yes. And I love that. And, it's like also the cheerleaders, they seem to be the only ones who are just not being paid adequately. Obviously, the football players are being paid adequately. I would argue the cheerleaders are taking just about as much risk with their bodies, if not the same, as a football player.
Right.
A lot of football players get paid $1 million a year to sit on the bench, and take almost zero risk.
They're not almost getting evicted from their apartment building.
That's it.
They're not working multiple jobs.
If they gain 5 pounds, they're not being scrutinized about their body.
Right.
They're not expected to have hair, makeup, this, that, So, and the water boys being paid like adequately. Charlotte Nepo Baby Jones is estimated to be worth like $100 million or something. She's Jerry Jones. Is that his name? Jerry Jones, the owner of the, she's his daughter. Kelly and Judy are being paid very nicely. Now, I don't know exactly what they make, but I've read, anywhere from like, $500,000 plus bonuses or this or that, at least for Kelly. So it's just, and also the cheerleaders, from what I've read, they're not allowed to use their social media to like brand deals. Like as a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, they're not able to say, look at me, I'm a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, and go secure like brand deals on their social media, where a brand would come in and say, let me pay you $5,000 to go and do 1 60-second, Instagram reel about my product, my food product, my beauty product, whatever it is. But football players are getting Nike deals and Adidas deals, multi-million dollars. So they're just, it's like they're the only ones that are being exploited, in my opinion.
Which that's the part that's so antiquated to me. And that's why I kept thinking of the Playboy Playmate, because that it just seems like that. Like they're being exploited for, for nothing, like to getting compensated almost nothing, and doing, all these things and being picked apart physically, and they have to follow these very strict rules or they're going to be knocked out, kind of it's just, the standard was very unfair. It just
really is unfair. And let's talk about, there's some veterans like Jada. Jada and these other handful of cheerleaders are like, hey, we're going to speak up. And they did speak up. And they didn't get what they wanted at first, and it looked like it was going to fall through. But in the end, they were able to get, I think, about a 400% pay raise, which is wonderful. I would argue still not adequate to what they're bringing to the table. But at least it was something. But it also angers me that it's like, it took the whole world to speak out.
To unveil what actually,
Yes. And then they still don't want to pay these girls. And it's like they have the money.
And it didn't come until like the end of that season,
Yes, they made it hard on them. I just look at something like this and I go, these DCC cheerleaders, it's just that they've been fed this propaganda for so many years by a losing team. Like at what point are we going to be able to go, oh, wait, hold on.
Right.
I'm bigger than you at this point. I am the elite athlete. I'm the elite dancer who can do things with my body that the large majority of the world cannot do with their bodies.
Right.
And I'm bringing something really big to the table. Right. I'm the reason that your first documentary blew up and went viral. It's because people are in love with me, the Dallas Cowboys
star of the
cheerleaders
show now. Right.
Yes.
Right.
And it's just, at what point are the more cheerleaders going to come and get together and go, oh no, baby, we are the shining star. You're a losing team. I don't know why you get to keep claiming you're America's team and that, it's a privilege to be here, but baby, I'm bringing more to the table than you are at this point. And I just can't wait for that to happen. I hope it happens. I absolutely love this documentary. I cried. I laughed. I was angry, like all the things. I'm going to ask you because, and the reason I bring up people kind of like victim blaming, I'm not calling the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders victims, but I'm saying kind of like in abusive relationships, some people still have that antiquated kind of blame the woman. Well, she stayed in the relationship. She must like it, or that bullshit. When I did those 2 TikToks and they went viral, I listened to I read damn near every comment that I could keep up with.
Hundreds.
Oh, people had
hundreds,
stuff to say, like in the comments. And I would definitely, you can go back and look. The large majority were agreeing with me that this is manipulation, exploitation, pay these women.
Yes.
But I bring that up because there were still people in the comments that are like, well, those women admit that they just are fulfilling their dream. They're happy to be there. So just leave it alone. Why are you even speaking on or how does it affect you? They're happy to be there. Just leave it alone. But again, like I said earlier, it's like that may be. It is a choice. They are making a choice to be there, and they might just be happy to be there. It still doesn't make it okay for the multi-billion-dollar organization to exploit that. That's my point. It's like, you can say these women are happy to be there, and many of them say they are, and they probably are.
They are. No,
but
they clearly are. Exactly.
Two things can be true.
Right.
They're happy to be there, but pay them. Right. Like that is
and see that their worth. Like, I mean, my goodness, like you said, like they really are the draw now. I would say almost, I mean, so much more so than the football team.
Yes.
Like look at like what they're like on Jimmy Fallon. They're going and doing concerts. There's so much more to them than the football aspect of it. That's almost just like a portion of it, you know?
And that's what I learned in the comments too, because this TikTok that went viral, like people in the comments time after time again are like, I am going to these games to watch the cheerleaders. Because there were people in the comments going, please, the football players deserve to pay more. People aren't there for the cheerleaders. And I'm like, oh, no.
Actually,
read the comments. I don't care about football. I don't watch football. I could give a shit. If I do go, I'm there for the cheerleaders. Like I would 100% rather. Right. But I know in the comments, these people are like, I literally go for the cheerleaders. That is the most exciting aspect of why I go to the game. So I know that these women are a draw, and it's a bullshit narrative that, oh, bullshit, people are there for the football players. Yeah, some are, but many are not. Right. And so it just, they do have worth. And the risks that they take, and those outfits are so, first of all, the outfits are so big. Give them a high-waisted short. Give them a high-waisted short and some sort of Spanx see-through netted number to hold that. Like, I mean, come on. Like, it's crazy. You know, the other thing I was thinking too is like, I can kind of relate to these girls. You know why? Your girl was a cheerleader.
Oh my God, for like
2 seconds.
Yeah. You like made the team and then got kicked off.
Girl.
Got kicked off.
I got kicked off the cheerleading squad. Why? I got in a fight in my uniform.
I mean, if that doesn't just show another example of like who you were and are as a person, it's like you didn't care. You're like, you know what?
Listen, I'm gonna fight this girl in my uniform. And you know, it's so funny now. Obviously, I was devastated in the moment, but I made my own bed, right? I was being a bad girl back then. But the first day of 8th grade, we were ordered like, okay, all the cheerleaders have to wear their uniforms. So we showed up at school. We're all wearing our uniforms. I get in a fight at lunch in my uniform. And I remember my counselor pulling me in and going, Jami, I don't know about you, but that's not my idea of school spirit.
Definitely. You're like an HR nightmare.
I was an HR branding nightmare. Cancel this bitch. Like,
I don't remember like, oh, you made the team. Oh, you're off the team.
I'm off the team. It was a whole thing. Like, I really, truly, my frontal lobe was not like fully developed.
I just feel like you'd do it again, though. Like,
honestly, listen, I could give a fuck sometimes. Like, I really do probably still have it in me, but I have grown since then, and I do regret my actions. But hey, it's just so fun. But I was there going, oh, I can relate to these girls.
Yeah,
I was an elite cheerleader. No, I had no business.
Oh yeah, no.
Being on that team.
You would have like violated your contract immediately.
I would have popped off. You know, that's what's so funny is the DCC. Remember the one girl literally didn't make the team last year because she like said something on social media. Right. I'm like, bitch, I'm popping off like on the daily. Right. I got something to say about everything.
I know.
You will definitely not want me on.
No. Thank God you guys own your own business.
Oh, 100%. Because otherwise, you're like, good thing I'm an entrepreneur because I don't think I can be controlled.
No. Or like stick up for someone else's like agenda.
Yes. I am a wild animal. You cannot keep me up in a cage. I cannot be W-2 employee anymore because all the things that we just discussed.
That's right. That's so funny. I forgot that you got kicked off so quickly.
Oh, yeah. It was, My parents were really proud of me at that moment. So yeah, that's my little, I could relate to the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Yes.
But this was really fun. I actually turns out like I am not shocked by how you felt about
I just had
the whole,
so much compassion for them. It's
I
like
do
to
too.
have something you want so bad. You are, even if you know you've heard certain things and you know certain things about the organization, you're just so laser focused. That part I identified with. I don't know. My heart, I was so connected to them for that. And like, I can see where I've done that in certain parts of my life. I mean, one was like to go into nursing. Like I was once I decided to do it, I was laser focused. Even so much so that, I was in an accelerated program. You couldn't miss one day of school and you had to just, rain or shine or sickness and everything. And you had to go or you'd get kicked out of this like spot that everybody was going for.
Yeah.
It was very hard to even get into the program. So I would do nothing to compromise that. And I had one day I was going to class and I was getting off the on-ramp or off-ramp. Going off the off-ramp. And a semi-truck in front of me missed the exit that I was taking. And he swerved really quickly and the whole semi flipped on its side, went down the embankment. I had to go down the embankment.
I do not remember this.
In my little Honda Civic.
Oh my gosh.
And where the whole thing was tipped over. He had to climb out the driver's side. And I literally was like, I was thinking, I can't be late for class, but I'm down an embankment. And I'm like, are you okay, sir? And he's like,
so you understood in that moment, like how...
once I knew he was okay, I got back on my little Honda Civic and I drove. I was like, he's safe. The truck's not on fire. He's rolled over and down an embankment and so am I, but I'm going to off-road, get back on and go to school.
But that's like a really good point because you understood that moment how big this was and how much you knew, like, I cannot get kicked out of this, even though this guy might quite literally have a broken neck.
The cab of his truck might catch on fire.
You literally couldn't help it that your mind also was like, you did the right thing. Like you checked on it, all the things, but you couldn't help it that you also were like, I can't be late to school.
Right.
I cannot miss this.
But I was like, I checked myself. I'm okay. My car is still drivable. He's okay. I mean, he's turned over, but he can get out. He climbed out. Everything's okay.
Everything's fine.
Okay, beep, beep, bye.
Gotta go. Gotta go get my nurse. And what's so funny about, so like when we've talked about the fact that like you and I barely climbed our way out of graduating high school because we were bad. We were just, whatever. We just weren't there.
I don't know. Yeah.
We ditched too much, whatever. And you are the one who first got your shit together and I was a teenage mom.
Yeah.
So
you had other things going on. Yeah.
I was working full time trying to pay my bills.
Yeah. And raise a child.
Yeah. And raise a child. Exactly. But you came to me and you were like, I'm going to go to college.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
But
and I was
what
like,
am I going to do now?
Yeah. But you pursued a library degree. What was it?
Oh, yeah. So first I got my undergraduate degree in art history. And then I went to graduate school it's a library and information science degree because I didn't know what to do with my art history degree. And I was like, I guess I can be like a librarian.
Sure.
Anyways, yeah.
It was the wrong fit, but you literally, we can laugh about it now. First of all, you did get your degree. You deserve credit for it. You finished the program. You checked you did it. You sought out to do something and you did it.
Wait,
but
not
I'm
the
laughing.
library and information science I didn't finish.
Oh, but the other one.
Oh, yeah. The first one I got, but the master's degree I did not. Because in a year in, I was like,
what am I doing? I'm going to be a librarian.
What? Who am I?
My bestie is not a librarian. Nobody puts baby in a corner.
That's right.
Like I cannot even picture.
No.
So then when you came to me and we were talking, you're like, you know what? I'm going to be a nurse.
Yeah.
And I was like, there she is.
And it really felt, it's the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. It's like the fork in the road. I can look back like retrospectively and see like, wow, I'm so glad I went down that path. I was supposed to go down that path. I'm still to this day so grateful I did it. But that's how, because I stopped doing, graduate school, which I was like making I went to UCLA. My mom even got the UCLA mom sticker.
Oh,
but I only went for a year because I was like, I can't do
She claimed that
She
shit.
had to like take it off with like a razor
Oh no,
blade.
I would still be rolling around in my car with the license plate bracket that says my kid went to UCLA. Beep, beep. I do not care.
It's like, sorry,
knowing
Mom.
how hard it is to get into that damn school.
But yeah, so anyways, I'm so glad. But once I really set my sights on doing it, nothing was going to stop me. And that's what I identified with in seeing these girls. And my heart went out to them. And it's like, and thank God they're getting compensated. But I love when somebody wants something so bad. And it's like, for their greater good or for whatever it is like that they go after
and they accomplish it.
And they accomplish it. There's no feeling like it. And it's just, I love watching other humans do it. So I really, I got so emotional watching this, like, and when they were making it or they didn't make it, that's why I loved this documentary.
I did too.
But I also was really triggered by, and I wanted to bring up, but I know we have to finish, but Dayton and her mom, and like how when Dayton didn't make it, that her mom triggered me because of like, there's a part where one of the cheerleaders, her mother is like a assistant choreographer, has been for decades.
Right.
She was trying out, I think it's her second time trying out. She finally makes it to the camp, which is like a big deal to make it to the cheer camp part of the tryouts. And then she ultimately doesn't make it. And her mom, out of anybody, should know that's a risk and that they shouldn't be given privilege just because of who she is with the organization, because it's a slippery slope. Because then someone's second cousin is going to try out, and then now they're going for this. And, so anyways, that part was like a little bit triggering because, again, it was like she didn't deserve anything more than what those other girls, were given just because of who her mom was. And
and on that point, and then we will wrap it up because we still have to talk about our reality TV stuff or say yes to the mess. But I think that part of the problem in all this is not just the propaganda we talked about, the manipulation, the lie of it being America's team and a privilege, all the things. I think there's a lot of parental pressure on these women. And that's part of the reason they want to people please and that they want to accomplish this goal, because if they don't become a DCC cheerleader, they've been told their whole lives that you should aspire to this. Some of the parents, the moms especially, that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. There's all this pressure, and it may or may not be what she's cut out to do, what she wants to do, what she dreams of doing, but she wants to please you. And so she goes after it. And then it's just a huge letdown when they don't make it because the parents are so, and I've seen this where I live too. There's a lot of pressure for kids to excel at sports because you're going to get that full ride scholarship and and they're putting all this pressure on them. It's like, the percentage of kids who actually get a full ride scholarship, it's like largely unattainable. Like, yes, some kids do, but the most don't.
Majority do not.
So I found that a bit like triggering as well.
Yes.
But anyway, we will wrap this one up. We are going to cover another documentary together soon for Serial Streamers. If you guys want to hear Jessi and I dish on reality TV, I'm talking Love Island. I'm talking Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I'm talking The Valley, Housewives, all of it. Tune into our brand new weekend series called Say Yes to the Mess. That is also on Murderish, the podcast. So if you're subscribed to Murderish, you will hear the Murderish episodes. That's a new true crime story every other Monday. You'll hear the Serial Streamers episodes every other Monday. And that's Jessi and I covering documentaries. They're true crime documentaries, true crime adjacent. Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders is in there, Chimp Crazy. And then we started a brand new series called Say Yes to the Mess. And that is going to air a couple times a month on Saturdays for now. And that's where we just dish on all things reality TV. So tune into that. And remember, be that bitch when it comes to your safety. Always cover your drink when you're out, lights on at night, and trust your gut. If your gut's telling you something's not right, it probably isn't. Stay safe out there.